In the house, we've got Jodie Emery, Mark Emery's wife, who is one of the greatest activists. She has taken our message to the world. We are so thrilled to have her in our midst and all of the good work she's doing. She's going to come and speak with you now. So please give a big round of applause to Jodie Emery.
Happy Canada Cannabis Day, everybody. Now, behind me here is a gigantic poster that says Free Mark. And that's a picture I took of Mark, actually, way back in the year I moved to Vancouver in 2004. And our wonderful artist friend Gary Wintle designed that logo, which you've seen, I'm sure, today on t-shirts around the art gallery. So thank you so much to all of you wearing a Free Mark shirt, representing, bringing Mark here when he can't be here. Mark was extradited from Canada in 2010, May 2010. He sold marijuana seeds from 1994 onward to people all over the world. Anywhere they were, he would send them marijuana seeds because they needed that medicine, they needed that cannabis, they have a right to that cannabis. And Mark promised them all that the money spent on marijuana seeds would finance activism to end the war on drugs. Mark spent millions of dollars raised with seeds from 1994 until 2005. He financed ballot initiatives in the United States, so places like Colorado and Washington, D.C. have legal medical marijuana to help people get that access to save their lives. Mark financed elections in Canada with the BC Marijuana Party and the Marijuana Party of Canada, and even supporting other parties across Canada who promised to have a voice against ending prohibition. And right now I want to give you guys a shout about the Liberal Party and the NDP deserve your support, because we have a government in Canada that is dismantling this beautiful country. And I actually do get worked up here. I cried the day Harper's government won majority power on the election of May 2nd. Because this gives them ultimate power not only to pass laws like they did to bring in mandatory minimum prison sentences for marijuana, which will be in effect later this year, mandating you go to prison no matter what if you're sick and you're suffering. This government is destroying our environment, they're destroying our education system, they're destroying so many things in this country. But the one that matters to me here today is that they're building prisons across this country for people like you. People like you here today who aren't hurting anybody are the bodies that they want to fill those prison cells with. There aren't any other criminals. There isn't more crime in Canada. The crime rate's at its lowest point ever, and this government declared a war on marijuana long ago. And now that they have majority power, that means that the opposition in government cannot stop them. That sounds like a dictatorship to me, but it's Canada's form of democracy, because we have a strange system that allows a government loathed by 2/3 of the country, voted in by 1/3 or so, having ultimate power that they cannot be stopped. The Harper Conservative government wants you in prison. They sent my husband, Mark Emery, to prison in the United States, a country he never went to, a country that he sent millions of seeds and millions of dollars to free people from persecution under the guise of the war on drugs. He had a huge impact in Canada, selling books and magazines about marijuana here when they were illegal in this country, and going to court and overturning that law so you can read High Times magazine or Cannabis Culture magazine or information about marijuana in any form, because of Mark and people like him who changed that law. Same with bongs and pipes. Everything you're smoking with here was not around when Mark started in 1994 here in Vancouver. It was so hard to find that sort of stuff, so he started bringing it in and setting up stores across Canada so they would sell bongs and pipes and vaporizers and all of the information and hemp clothing that our culture needs to have. Mark brought all that back to Canada, and Canada became a beautiful beacon of peace and tolerance and pot. BC Bud became famous. our country was seen as a progressive country where marijuana was so close to being decriminalized that our own Prime Minister said he would have a joint in one hand and the fine in the other. And that was not Harper, that was Chrétien, but we've moved into a darker, different time. Mark got a 5-year prison sentence for selling seeds and financing the marijuana movement. The Drug Enforcement Administration of the United States, which operates all around the world, said in their press release it was about him being the leader of the legalization movement, about financing legalization activists, being the most wanted drug kingpin in Canada for selling seeds for money. They didn't even mention the seeds in the press release. It was all politics, but we all know what Mark did. He wanted to plant the seeds of freedom to overgrow the government. A beautiful, peaceful revolution where people grow their own medicine, heal themselves, give themselves life, give themselves freedom from the prohibition that's in place. And today, in this beautiful city, we get to celebrate this. It's just like 420. We get to have availability and freedom for a day. But this doesn't happen everywhere, and right now, right this second, somebody is being arrested, somebody's going to prison, somebody's life is being ruined by the laws that are still in place. And again, I remind you that this Harper government just brought in mandatory minimums. That means every one of you growing marijuana is facing time in prison, guaranteed if you get busted. The judge won't be able to stop that from happening. Thanks a lot, Harper. So for all of you involved in our community and our culture, be safe. Protect yourself. Don't be scared, but be aware that this government is out to get you. They really, truly are, because you are a peaceful people, you're decent, you help this cannabis community grow and thrive, and you represent what Canada always was meant to represent. Tolerance, compassion, peace, love, all that stuff that Harper and the Conservatives hate. They're a warmongering, oily, bloodthirsty government here in Canada. So today is Canada Day, and all across this country, the military is out, and Harper and all his Conservatives are out there talking about Canada being a big exporter of oil and a big war power across the world. Well, that's not the Canada that I love. That's not the Canada I knew. And in fact, we're all losing the Canada we knew and loved. So for me today, I like to celebrate Cannabis Day. These flags here with the cannabis leaf, that's our flag for today, because that represents peace, tolerance, compassion, all the things that are beautiful about this country. So while Mark is away for 2 more years until his early release date, and then he'll be back here July 9th, 2014. The daily countdown clock is at freemark.ca. Take a look there for his prison blogs. He's performing music, and so in 2 years he'll be back here rocking out on the stage, which will be amazing. But Mark is getting bigger, better, stronger. So am I. So is our movement. The more oppression we face, the more we're going to fight back. And this sort of beautiful day is a reminder of what we can strive for and who we have on our side. It's all of you out there doing something, taking action, joining a political party, having a protest, talking to your friends and neighbors, anything and everything you can do each day to end prohibition, because again, you may be in that prison cell one day and you want to know that everybody out here is working their asses off to make sure you get home, and everybody else in the drug war prison system gets to go home too, including Mark. Thanks a lot, everybody. We have a beautiful day here. Happy Canada Cannabis Day, and we've got more action coming up for you.